Sixers. 10, 9, 8, 76ers.
What's going on, everyone? This is UK 76ers. My name is Ben Glasspool, and the other night the Philadelphia 76ers blew out the Minnesota Timberwolves by 118 points to 94. Now, before we go into it, I do want to quickly apologise that this video is out a day later than we normally expect. Normally my videos come out the day after the game comes out, but yesterday I was swamped with a whole lot of things I needed to get done. Therefore, this is why it's coming out today. So I apologise, this shouldn't happen too often. It's just sometimes you got to do what you got to do. On top of that, some of the stats I will be using will be from this incredibly great site called Viziball. I will leave the link in the description below, and if my editing skills are any good, I'd like to think I can get a photo of their Twitter handle so you guys can go follow them. If not, I'm just going to have to spell it out to you. It's at VIZIBALL_ at the end. So Viziball, a fantastic site that give you access to all the stats, all the NBA stats, not just Sixers games, not just Timberwolves games, all the games. So easy to navigate through, so easy to, you know, draw conclusions about the game. It's stats that everyone can just use, basically, and it's been fantastic. They've been providing me with some great pieces of information after every Sixer game, so I would just implore you guys to go follow them on Twitter, to check out their site, because, you know, who doesn't love stat heavy NBA basketball? It's just, I personally find it extremely interesting. I'm sure you guys do too. So be sure to check those guys out. Like I said, I'll leave a link in the description below. And as I said before, if my editing skills are any good, I'd like to think I can maybe just get their Twitter handle on this, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But anyway, let's talk about this Timberwolves game. So it started off quite sluggishly. The first Sixer bucket came 3 minutes and 20 seconds in. It was a slow start, but I never felt, oh no, this game's, you know, this indicates to us this is going to be a really tough one. Because unfortunately the Timberwolves are really, really lacking in depth, and the best players they do have, i.e. Karl-Anthony Towns, was injured. They had D'Angelo Russell back, but he had literally just come back from injury, so I don't think this was ever going to be his best game. I think he finished 3 from 11 from the field, and that was partly due to rustiness, but also partly due to the defense that was put on him. Was just, you know, I think most of the time he had one of Ben Simmons or Matisse Thybulle on him, and you're not going to do too well if you have those two guys on you 24/7. But the Timberwolves, they didn't have a reckon. Look, they had a center, but they didn't have a real. Like, they had Ed Davis, who's their third choice, from what I can gather. Obviously, Karl-Anthony Towns is their first. Naz Reid is their second. Then it goes to Ed Davis, who's, you know, been bounced around the league. Not a bad player by any means, but he's not an Embiid stopper. He's quite a skinny frame, so he's given up a lot of weight and a lot of height to Embiid. So that. You know, we're always going to have our way with him, and Embiid did. And then the backup to him was Jared Vanderbilt, who was a power forward. So Embiid just had an absolute field day. It was the easiest 37 points Joel Embiid could ever have, and he didn't seem to need to go out of second gear. He just got to the free throw line with ease because they couldn't stop him. They didn't know how to stop him, and it was just foul and hope for the best. So look, the first quarter, you know, it did finish 25-25, but even then I was like, I wasn't too worried. And normally when it comes to Sixers, I do sort of embrace that cynicism, get quite cynical and be like, oh, this is going to be a long day at the office, or, you know, we're really going to struggle with this, or it's going to right down to the wire. But you knew quite early on this game was going to be a Sixers win. And there were some things which did annoy me still. Namely, we still persist with that Dwight Howard, Matisse Thybulle and Ben Simmons lineup. Stop that. That's 3 people who just can't shoot. The on-off numbers have shown that these don't work. I don't have the numbers exactly to me, but you know, someone tweeted it. Someone tweeted the numbers, and it makes for really unpleasant viewing. And yeah, it just doesn't need to be done. And look, when they came in, it was 23-22, and we only got 2 more points, and the Timberwolves got 3. And look, that might not sound too much, but we missed a lot of stuff on the offensive end. And the Timberwolves just missed a lot of stuff on the defense, on their side of things, because they don't have many good players playing. It was simple as that. Second quarter comes along, we get a bit more breathing space. The quarter finished 28-23, but again, it's perhaps I'm being overly critical because we did blow this team out, but there's some glaring things, and I think this was from a spillover of that lineup, is that we need that backup floor general. Look, Milton's great and Maxey's great, and I think Maxey will grow and grow and grow, and Milton, he's a combo guard, but he's not a true point guard. We almost needed like a Rondo-esque person to come off the bench and just play make. get those assists, get easy looks for our players. Because when Ben Simmons is on the floor, or even Joel Embiid, when double teams are drawn, we can't seem to get easy buckets. A lot of mid-range pull-ups and really contested shots, throwing threes up. So that's something we need to address, and I'm sure, like Daryl Morey, I'm sure he will. There's trade deadline. We've got another month and a bit before the trade deadline. Then, of course, there's the buyout market. So he'll have his eye on that, and I'm fairly certain this will be addressed. But let's just make sure this is an issue that needs addressing. Dwight Howard continue with his fouls. That he brought that rebounding and all that, but it's just some of these fouls. I do feel sorry for him because I do think perhaps he's a bit of an easy target, and he's got a bit of a reputation. Therefore, the refs seemingly have almost like an itchy trigger finger where they'll keep going for him because it's Dwight Howard, it must be a foul. But he just needs to be a bit more sensible, because I alluded to it in the Lakers game, is that we don't mind if he personally gets fouled out, but when he tots up a lot of fouls, which he did in the Lakers games, in the fourth quarter, and then they're in the bonus so early, that can swing games. So he seems to be a bit sensible with that. But, it wasn't the worst Dwight game, and I think it's very easy to vilify him, but it's just something that I'm sure they'll have a word with him about, because he probably knows better than anyone, because like I said, he's an experienced pro. But Doc and all that, they'll have a word with him and be like, this has got to change. But we weren't very good from the field. Like I said, the second quarter we got a bit more breathing space. We were 35% from the field, but it was this living at the free throw line, courtesy of Joel Embiid. We were 20 of 22 from the free throw line as well, as you would expect when Joel's taken the majority of them. But it was just this ability to keep getting the free throw line and just keep creating the space between us and the Timberwolves, and we just kept chipping away, and then of course people end up in foul trouble. Then you have to play the bench players, and it just it was a downward spiral for the Timberwolves from then onwards. But so it came to the half where 5 points ahead, 53-48, and this game was done in third. Much to my frustration, because I had a bet that probably would have come through had it gone a bit tighter, but I'd much rather Sixers win than have any sort of nervy finish as we had in the Lakers game, of course, because that was extremely nervy. Comes to the third quarter, and it was like Joel Embiid came out and said, "Look, I want this game to be done and dusted. I want to rest. We got the Pacers coming up soon. Give me the ball." So I think the first 5 or 6 possessions were all him, mid ranges, 3-pointers, free throw line. He got 15 points in that third quarter in about 6-7 minutes of play. The quarter we finished 35-26, and then the score was 88-74 at the end of the third. It was just so easy for Joel. And also I did notice, we can talk about the Joel in this third quarter, but again, the defense on Tobias Harris on the other side, he was fantastic. And look, we know how much he's improved on the offensive end, but some of the time he's just become a reliable defender. I mean, we saw it even he saw glimpses of it against AD. He's become a really good defender, interior defender as well. He's bringing that aggression, and he's standing up to people who sometimes are bigger than him, and he's been a really good, solid defensive player. And that's how the dominance came. The dominance came, of course, from Embiid on the offensive end, but then a combination of Embiid, Tom Harris, and Simmons on the defensive end. You get stops and score at the other end. It's a simple game. If you do that, you win games and you blow people out. And by the end of halfway through the third quarter, majority of starters weren't on the floor, I think, barring Tobias Harris, who led that bench unit. And the game was done and dusted. This is going to be a short video because it's not much to say. It was a few things that did annoy me, ones I alluded to before, but the rest of it was just pretty routine. We saw nice little glimpses from Tyrese Maxey, bringing his floater and mid-range game. That seems to be dropping a bit more. Milton got a nice 13 points, and Curry got his shooting a form back. It looks like 2 or 3 from the field. But this third quarter, and this is stats provided by Viziball. Embiid player impact 21%. This is streets ahead of anyone in behind him in terms of player impact. Simmons 7-to-1 ratio for turnovers, assists to turnovers, which was fantastic. This is what we want. We always talk about the turnovers of Ben Simmons, but if he has this sort of impact where he has a ratio of 7 assists per turnover, that's fantastic. That's what we want. It means he's playing sensible basketball. It means he's not rushing things, and it means someone's had a word with him to improve these ideas. And Embiid had 42% usage, and that was clearly exemplified in that third quarter. I mean, that number, it does not surprise me at all. I mean, what did surprise me actually was the second most usage was I want to say Shake Milton with 35%. But that was just because we didn't in that fourth quarter we had the bench unit out, and Milton could just go and do his own thing. In that fourth, Harris had a really fantastic dunk. It was so aggressive. I forgot who it was over. I want to say it was Vanderbilt. He took it to him, tomahawk down, and it was just no nonsense. Aggressive Tobias Harris. You absolutely love to see it, and we want to see more of it. I did vote for him to be an all-star. Look, we do it because, you know, you always back your own guys, but I really hope he does get it, because it'll be tough, and perhaps I'm being biased, but I really do think he deserves some recognition for what he's done this season. Matisse Thybulle was put on D'Angelo Russell. The Wolves tried to mount a late comeback in the fourth, primarily through, you know, Malik Beasley and D'Angelo Russell, and we put Matisse Thybulle on D'Angelo Russell, and that was, you know, good night. You're not getting anywhere. I think he had 2 steals and 3 blocks. He was fantastic. He didn't get his points, but he was a plus 13 because he was so good on that defensive end, and D'Angelo Russell couldn't get anywhere. I felt almost sorry for him. Matisse was such a pest, and he absolutely killed him in this game on that defensive end. So it comes to final scores. You had, you know, it was 118 to 94. Pretty simple game. Like I said, very routine. This video is going to be one of my shortest because there's not much to talk about really. But, you know, Tobias Harris, 17 points, 11 rebounds, double-double, 2 out of 3 from 3, you know, keeping up that great percentage, 66%. Embiid, 37 points, 11 rebounds, 16 out of 18 from the free throw line, and he played 27 minutes. 37 points in 27 minutes. He could have easily got his 50 piece because, you know, I want to say his career high is 49, so the elusive sort of 50-point piece that he's after. But, you know, there's no reason why he can't get it this season, and I think he will eventually. Ben Simmons, 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. Again, he played limited minutes. I would expect that to be a bit more, you know, looking at maybe 15, 10, and 7, had he played a bit more. But yeah, you know, a solid game on both ends, as you normally would expect from the guy. Seth Curry, 12 points, 2 of 3. You know, just back to what we wanted to be draining threes. Danny Green didn't. He only got 3 points, but you know, again, he was defensively very good. You know, a few steals, and he's just playing with such a good intelligence that's been so good for this team for the last 2 games. So that was the Timberwolves game. We've got Pacers this evening, which will be a big test. You know, they've been playing well. They've got, you know, Sabonis, Brogdon, Turner, of course TJ Warren, who if we had any sort of competitive spirit, sporting spirit, we're going to want to shut him down early on because he embarrassed us. Look, he's a good player, but he embarrassed us. So that'll be an intriguing one. It will be a tougher test for sure. It will be on the road, which, you know, will always be a bit tougher than it would be had this been at the Wells Fargo Center, even without fans. But it'll be a really intriguing game. I expect it to be tight, but I also kind of, you know, if Embiid plays, I just expect to win. You know, we've extended this to now that whenever our starters start, you know, the typical sort of 5, you know, Simmons, Curry, Green, Harris, Embiid, we're still unbeaten. And that would lead me to believe that if we have that same starting 5, then we should win this game. It really is as simple as that. I back this starting 5 so much. I talk about the faults. I talk about the faults of the roster in general, and sometimes what needs adjusting, what perhaps needs trading, what we need trading for. But it's still a very good starting 5, and that's shown by where we are in the standings. The standings don't lie, and the record doesn't lie. We've done very well. So that was the Timberwolves game. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'll be back again for the Pacers in a more timely hour than it was for this one. I do apologise for the lateness of this. Hope you guys can forgive me. But yeah, I'll see you for the Pacers game. Don't forget to check out that Viziball site. Fantastic page for all the stats, and it's so easy to navigate. Do check it out. Like I said, link in the description below, and I will see you guys next time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.